Stories that time forgot.
Imagine you are the secret architect of a future you will never enjoy. The man who designed the heart of every smartphone and computer decades before they existed, only to die in the shadows, while others receive the Nobel Prize for your idea. The inventor of the transistor who died alone and in poverty. Welcome to a chronicle of time's injustice and the industry's blindness. You, who now hold a device with billions of transistors in the palm of your hand, must know the story of Julius Edgar Lilienfeld. On October 16, 1928, at a patent office in Ottawa, Canada, a 47-year-old man filed document number 31,292,828. Its title was simple: Method and Apparatus for Controlling Electric Currents. Those yellowed pages described, with astounding mathematical precision, a three-terminal semiconductor device. It was, in essence, the field effect transistor. Lilienfeld did not build a functional prototype because the material purification technology of his era did not allow it. But his diagrams were so exact that when Bell Labs engineers rediscovered the concept nearly 20 years later, their initial designs were virtually identical. The difference was cruel. Bell Labs had ultra-pure silicon and millions of dollars. Lilienfeld only had a theory that no one wanted to hear. Julius Edgar Lilienfeld was no amateur or baseless dreamer. Born in 1882 in the old Austro-Hungarian Empire, he earned his doctorate at the University of Berlin under the tutelage of Max Planck himself. Imagine the cold German classrooms at the turn of the century, the smell of ozone in the labs, and the sound of the first electrical discharges. He was the one who patented the modern electrolytic capacitor, a component found today in every appliance in your home. But his true obsession was the control of electrons in a solid state. While the entire world marveled at vacuum tubes' fragile, massive devices that heated up like stoves, Lilienfeld understood that the future lay in the silence of germanium crystals. In 1925, he filed his first U.S. patent describing exactly this principle. In 1928, he refined the design, including the concept of an insulating layer, the absolute core of what we know today as MOSFET technology. However, Lilienfeld operated in an absolute vacuum of commercial interest. The giants of the era, like General Electric or Siemens, were deeply committed to vacuum tubes. Investing in a semiconductor device without a practical demonstration seemed like suicidal madness to them. After emigrating to the United States in 1922, Lilienfeld tried to start small companies, but funding never arrived. In 1933, after the collapse of his final business venture, he retired with his wife Beatrice to a modest house in Coconut Grove, Florida. He was 51 years old, and his savings had vanished. His patents, those that would be worth billions today, didn't generate a single cent because no one was using them. For the next 30 years, this genius lived on occasional lectures and his wife's widow's pension, while he aged in the tropical anonymity of Florida, surrounded by the scent of saltpeter and the hum of ceiling fans. The world began to build his legacy without asking permission. In December 1947, John Bardeen, Walter Brattain, and William Shockley created the first functional transistor at Bell Labs. But there is a detail the official history often omits. When Bell Labs lawyers discovered Lilienfeld's patents in 1951, they panicked. They argued that Lilienfeld's patents were non-enabling because he had never built the physical apparatus. Legally, they won the battle. But morally, they buried the true pioneer alive. The bitterest moment came in 1956. Imagine the scene: the announcement of the Nobel Prize in Physics for the three Bell Labs researchers. The news traveled around the world. In his Florida home, a 74-year-old man read the morning paper. Julius Lilienfeld simply clipped the news and kept it in a shoebox alongside his old patents. He knew that fighting industry giants was futile. History had already been written, and he didn't appear in the credits. Lilienfeld died on August 28, 1963, in a Miami public hospital. He was 81 years old, and his death certificate defined him simply as a retired man. He owned no shares in Apple, nor Microsoft, nor any tech company his idea helped create. He died without knowing that the transistor would become the most manufactured object by humanity, with over 10 quintillion units produced. He died without knowing that his field effect design would be the foundation of every AI processor and every social network we use today. The irony is that his patents expired in 1948, the very year the transistor became commercially viable. It wasn't until 1977 that a Fairchild semiconductor engineer named Chi-Tang Hsia rediscovered his work and published an article. Only then, 14 years after his death, did the Austrian physicist's name begin to echo in academic circles. Lilienfeld's tragedy is the recurring pattern of human innovation, where the pure theorist dies in misery while the practical executor reaps the laurels. Today, every time you turn on your phone screen, you are activating a technology born in the mind of an ignored man in 1928. There are no statues for him in Silicon Valley. There are no chapters dedicated to his life in school textbooks. Lilienfeld didn't build the body of the transistor, but he designed its mathematical soul. And he paid the highest price a visionary can pay, seeing the future with total clarity, but being born too soon to touch it. Do you think the current patent system is fair to inventors who lack the resources to manufacture their ideas? Your opinion is very important to us, so tell us what you think about this case of historical neglect in the comments section. Like and subscribe to discover more stories that time forgot.